Mamba out.
Some endings are so heavy that the crowd feels them before the final buzzer even sounds. Final games aren't about stats or wins, they're about memories, goodbyes, and realizing an era is ending forever. Kobe Bryant, the perfect farewell.
30, Bryant from 14, has 53!
I said, Kobe, the floor is yours, and he said, all he wanted these guys to understand is he left everything on that floor. He said, I have no regrets whatsoever because I left everything I had in my body on that floor.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what you were saying. The man just had a will, and he never wanted to ever look back and say, man, if I would have played a little harder, if I'd have did this, I left everything on that floor. And I'll remember that for the rest of my life because I'm standing there like, yes, he did.
Yeah.
This has been absolutely beautiful, you guys. I can't believe it's come to an end. You guys will always be in my heart. And I sincerely appreciate it. No words can describe how I feel about you guys. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. God, I love you guys.
And here's where it hits differently. The 2015-16 season was brutal for the Lakers. Loss after loss. Statistically, the worst year in franchise history. But none of that mattered. Nobody in LA showed up for the standings. They showed up to say goodbye. 20 years, 5 championships, 1 jersey, 1 city. April 13th, 2016 against the Utah Jazz felt less like a game and more like a moment everyone knew they'd never see again. Then Kobe did something that no longer made sense. 60 points at 37 on tired legs, shot after shot, miss after miss, then make when it mattered. The building felt tight, like nobody was breathing. Even the Jazz knew it wasn't about them. Gordon Hayward later said it felt like a movie unfolding in real time. Byron Scott explained it best. Kobe told him he had no regrets, none. Because he left everything on that floor, every ounce, every last drop. When the buzzer finally sounded, Kobe grabbed the mic, thanked the fans, thanked his family. His voice cracked, then 4 words that still echo. Mamba out. And just like that, basketball felt a little emptier. What would you have done in that arena? Cheered, cried, or just stood there trying to process it? Dwyane Wade, Miami's heartbeat.
Your thoughts, sir?
Well, my thoughts are all over the place, Jax. I think about the moment that my agent came to the table in New York in 2003 and told me that he was about to pick me at 5. And it was a numb feeling, similar to what I'm feeling right now. But from the first conversation I had back to this arena that day, I heard the ovation, I heard the love, and I appreciated it then. And I more than appreciate it now, man. So I'm sitting here just the most thankful person in this state.
That was tragic. Let's try it again. Let's do it this way. All right. As simple as this. Wade County, I love you.
And this one hurts more quietly. Dwyane Wade didn't just play for Miami, he was Miami. From the moment he arrived, the franchise bent around him. 3 championships, 13 All-Star appearances, the face of Heat culture before it even had a name. His final home game came against the 76ers, and somehow it felt both heavy and calm. No chaos, no desperation, just Wade doing what he'd always done. 30 points, smooth finishes, vintage footwork, one last reminder that he still had it. But here's the thing, Wade never let the emotions spill over. You could see them sitting behind his eyes, but he kept it together. In the post-game interview, his mind drifted back to draft night in 2003, being told he'd go 5th, hearing that first Miami ovation, feeling that same numb gratitude all over again. When his jersey was finally lifted to the rafters, it felt inevitable. Number 3, frozen in time. Wade didn't just retire as a Heat legend, he left as the heartbeat of an entire city. Have you ever seen a player so perfectly tied to one place? Tim Duncan, the silent exit.
Duncan, blocked by Ibaka, picked up by Westbrook, Westbrook to Durant, and the finish. Oh.
But then there's Tim Duncan, and this part almost slips past you. No farewell tour, no announcements, no last dance. During the 2016 playoffs, the Spurs were rolling, and nobody knew they were watching the final chapter of one of the greatest careers ever. Game 6 against the Thunder. Elimination on the line. Duncan, 39 years old, somehow turns back the clock. 19 points, efficient shooting. His best performance of that postseason was after barely scoring in all the series. Not because it was a farewell, because it was a fight. That's who he was. Tim Duncan never played for moments. He played to win, and when it ended the same way he lived his career. Quietly, professionally, without asking for anything. No speech, no waves, just a walk off the floor. And somehow, that made it even more emotional. Would you even realize you were watching history at that moment? Paul Pierce, one last shot. And just when you think the goodbye can't get more dramatic, Paul Pierce steps in. His final regular season game in Boston felt like time folding in on itself. Same floor, same crowd, same love. TD Garden wasn't just loud, it was emotional, like the building knew exactly what it was about to lose. Pierce soaked it all in, every cheer, every chant, every second. Then with 11 seconds left, he did the most Paul Pierce thing imaginable. Pulled up from 28 feet, no hesitation, follow through held high, splash. The game was already decided. That shot didn't matter on the scoreboard, but emotionally, it meant everything. The crowd exploded. It felt right. It felt earned. Afterward, Pierce reflected like someone finally letting it all sink in. 19 years, everything he had, every night, from a kid out of Englewood to an NBA champion, traveling the world, changing his family's life. That wasn't just a three-pointer, that was a full career summed up in one perfect moment. Have you ever seen an ending fit someone so perfectly? Shaquille O'Neal, the quiet disappearance.
Check in, Bosh and Anthony are gone. And Shaquille O'Neal has checked in for the first time tonight.
Still, if you single cover him and he gets the ball low enough, can score. Now the mobility is not there, but you talked about only 8 minutes, 1 of 2 from the field. He's going to put a hard foul on LeBron James, Dwyane Wade, whoever drives.
Here's Pierce watching the driving.
This one is hard to watch. By the 2011 playoffs with the Celtics, Shaq wasn't Shaq anymore. Injuries had taken their toll. The dominance was gone. The power that once shattered backboards had faded into pain management and limited minutes. His final NBA game lasted 3 minutes and 31 seconds, no points, no rebounds, no assists. And then it was over. No farewell, no send-off, just silence. The contrast is jarring. Prime Shaq terrorized entire franchises. Late career Shaq quietly disappeared from the box score. But here's the truth. The ending didn't erase anything. His legacy was already carved in stone. Sometimes greatness is so big, it doesn't need a goodbye. Do you think legends should always get a final moment? Michael Jordan, the final goodbye.
Of a legendary career. Michael, it's been an honor to call your games and a privilege to watch you play. Thank you, Michael Jordan.
And then there's Michael Jordan, for real this time. April 16th, 2003, 40 years old, wearing a Washington Wizards jersey. No finals, no Bulls red, just one last game in Philadelphia and a 20-point loss. Jordan scored 15. Nothing historic, nothing flashy, but the moment still found him. As he walked off the floor, the entire Philly crowd stood up, an opposing arena on its feet, roaring for the man who changed basketball forever. The Sixers even intentionally fouled just to give him one last walk to the free throw line. One last pause, one last acknowledgement. Jordan admitted later that it hit him then. He wasn't putting on a uniform again, and surprisingly, it didn't feel terrible. It felt final, settled. No comeback jokes, no maybe someday. This was it. When the greatest ever finally accepted the end, it didn't need fireworks, just respect, just silence, just catching up. Did you believe him when he said it was really over? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, basketball royalty.
That's it for Kareem now. That's it. He's out.
And this wasn't just a goodbye, it was a league-wide salute. By the time Kareem reached the end, he was 42 years old, 20 seasons deep, with 6 championships already stamped on his resume. Everyone knew the 1988-89 season was his last, and the NBA treated it like royalty, leaving the throne. Every city honored him, every arena paused. On April 22nd, 1989, his final game wasn't about points or minutes. It was about respect, the skyhook, the longevity, the consistency no one has touched since. When Kareem walked off the floor, it felt ceremonial, almost sacred. Basketball wasn't losing just a player. It was saying goodbye to an era that might never be repeated. Can you imagine the league stopping like that for anyone today? Allen Iverson, knowing when the fire is gone.
Bulls are going to win it 122-9.
This one cuts deeper than people realize. Allen Iverson was built on intensity, relentless, fearless. Every possession felt like a fight, but near the end, something changed. In his final games, Iverson admitted his mind wasn't fully there anymore. The fire that once consumed him had dimmed, and for a player whose entire identity was giving everything, that realization hurt more than any loss. No farewell tour, no ceremony, just a quiet understanding that it was time. Sometimes the hardest ending isn't being forced out. It's knowing you can't be who you used to be anymore. Have you ever had to walk away from something you loved like that? David Robinson, going out a champion.
All right, I'm with David Robinson. How would you put this moment into words?
Now this is the dream ending. David Robinson announced ahead of time that the 2003 season would be his last. No surprises, no drama, just one final mission: win. Game 6 of the NBA Finals, Spurs versus Nets. The moment was massive and Robinson showed up. 13 points, 17 rebounds, still dominant, still reliable. When the final buzzer sounded, San Antonio was the champion, again. Robinson walked away with his second NBA title, leaving the game on top, exactly the way legends hope it ends. No questions, no regrets, just fulfillment. Not everyone gets this ending, and that's what makes it special. If you could script a retirement, would you pick anything else? Reggie Miller, no ring but immortal love.
Larry Brown, who coached Reggie, but Larry is so human. He understands if you let play resume, you know, the crowd is back into it, the game winds up, and Larry calls a timeout so he can bring his team to the other.
And then there's Reggie Miller, clutch personified. Deep threes, trash talk, cold-blooded confidence. For 18 years, Reggie lived for big moments. But in 2005, his dream ended without a championship. Game 6 against the Pistons. Loss. Season over. Career over. Then something unexpected happened. Pistons coach Larry Brown called a timeout, not for strategy, but for respect, to give Reggie his moment. The Indiana crowd stood up and stayed standing. Nobody left, nobody rushed the exits. Reggie soaked it in. This was home, this was love. He never got the ring, but he got something just as rare: unconditional appreciation. Sometimes legacy isn't measured in trophies, but in how long the applause lasts. Would you trade a ring for that moment? Some legends go out in flames, others fade quietly, but every final game leaves something behind. A memory, a feeling, a piece of history that never really disappears. So which goodbye hit you the hardest? Drop your take in the comments, hit like if this moved you, and subscribe. More legendary moments are coming.